All right. Hey, today we're going to talk about a little situation like this where you're both on the money ball. Okay. Could be 9 ball, 10 ball, 8 ball, whatever. Last ball, you guys are both on it. Okay. I'm going to show you 4 doable safeties. All right. And one mistake safety that a lot of people try. Okay. And then we'll go into how to be aggressive with this shot too. Okay. And maybe some solutions there. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Okay. By the way, the money ball is about an inch off of the rail. Okay. So you know what an inch is. All right. So some of you may try a slow rolling shot and just try to leave yourself leave your opponent the same shot on the money ball that you have, just a little closer. Problem is, this doesn't usually end up well. See? And that's what happens probably 90% of the time. Okay, equal separation is a decent safety, okay? But how do you achieve that? Because if you go a half ball hit, this is going to happen. If you go about a third ball hit, okay, well, how about a quarter ball hit? Okay, a little better, but the cue ball had more energy in it because I only hit about a quarter of the money ball, the 8 ball. All right, so we did leave either a bank or a cut. I would cut that to the corner all day. So how do we do it properly? Okay, well, a little bit of spin does come in handy. Now, many of you might just say, play a little outside spin on it so that it increases the angle on the 8 ball to get it over here. Okay, but outside spin would be running English in this case. It's also going to make the cue ball have more energy and come out faster. Okay, so this is what that looks like. I'm playing one tip of left. Okay, while I did get the 8 ball over to this rail area, you can see the cue ball had way too much energy in it. All right, so when you're straight on like this, the best way to get the equal separation, you want to leave your opponent at least a bank corner or a bank side, is to play some inside spin and just overcut it a little bit. Okay, so I'm playing right spin. All right, so at least we got a little close to the side pocket there, but not bad. Okay, at least I'm leaving my opponent a bank. Could have hit that a little softer. The 8 would have been here. Cue ball would have been here. But either way, you're going to leave your opponent an equal separation type bank shot. Okay, let's get into the next safety. All right, next safety is the skinny up and down. Now, this is a sellout shot if you do not do it right. I would not recommend doing it from back this distance. I would only probably do this if I was within a couple feet. Okay, so let's just move it up to a couple feet here. All right, so now it's easier to get that real skinny little thin hit on the 8 ball and bring the cue ball back down to where my hips are. Okay, here we go. Right down on the rail. It's resting on the rail. Okay, so there is a cut there. It's not that easy, but especially because the cue ball had perfect weight on it, it came right down to this rail. Nonetheless, that is an option. Like I said, way more difficult if you're 3, 4, 5 feet away, 6 feet away from that object ball. I would never do that shot. Okay, so it is an option. Let's get into the next safety option. Okay, I call this one the swap kill. Why? Because we're going to try to swap places or swap sides of the table with that 8 ball. Okay, we'd like to try to get it over here somewhere, hopefully resting near the rail. Okay, and we want to leave the cue ball down there. So how do we do that? Well, we need to kill the cue ball. okay, with some inside spin. I'm going to cut the 8 to my right at about quarter ball. I need to play maximum right spin, inside spin to kill that cue ball and hold it down here somewhere, okay? And hopefully we get the 8 right in here and don't set it up in the pocket. We need to try to break the side pocket, so we need to hit before the side pocket, okay? It's easy to hit over here, but that's just going to sell out because it's going to set it up. So let's cut this at the right amount, play maximum right spin. Okay, perfect. All right, that one does take some practice. You're not going to get that on the first try, okay? But once you practice it and become more proficient at it, you can be very consistent with that shot. All right, this one is the DK, the double kiss. All right, this one is actually pretty easy and you can be very consistent at it. I am very consistent at it. I do like to play just a soft draw shot on this. Okay, it's going to help promote the double kiss and it's going to bring that cue ball right back down here. Okay, obviously it's easier the closer you are. I don't think I'd be playing, if the cue ball was down here, I don't think I would be trying this double kiss shot. Okay, center table, it's not so bad. All right, and if you're a little bit off on either side of center table, you can still do this double kiss shot or any of the other safeties I showed you, okay? But this double kiss shot, if you're a little bit off center, you're gonna have to find the right angle to still get the double kiss. It's a little harder. When you're straight on like this, yeah, this is a very doable shot, guys, okay? A soft draw shot, check it out. Look at that. All right, tiny bit harder, and we would have been right back down here on the short rail. But that ball was not frozen either, so it was a legal shot. Okay, no problem. If that ball was frozen, you would have had to have made contact with this rail to be legal. Okay, very doable safety. So that's 4 safeties that you can do in that situation, and 1 safety that you should not try. Okay, in the first example. Let's get aggressive. All right, when the object ball is off of the rail, the bank is a real possibility, okay? Single bank to either corner. All right, now, it's basically a half ball hit. It is just off of the rail, like I said, okay? If you hit it soft, you are likely gonna go wide. And if you hit it too narrow, you still may get a double kiss, okay? So I personally like to put a little bit of inside spin on this, but I'm gonna show you a bank. It's basically a half ball hit. I'll do it at a decent pace, and let's just see if we can make it without any spin at all. You see, banks sometimes can be sellout shots. I really did shoot that perfect, but I have tight pockets, guys, all right? So let's check out some other options for that shot. I prefer to put just a little bit of right spin, so inside spin on this. Not much, half a tip. Okay, here we go. And shoot it like this. Same thing, guys. You see how inconsistent banks can be? All right, third time is the charm. Barely, but we got it, all right? Hey, here's something interesting about this shot. All right, if you are straight on a shot like we've been doing here for a bank shot, do you know the angle is actually easier the further you are back, the more space you have? It might be a little bit harder to aim it if you can't see it, but the angle actually is easier. It's a straighter bank. What do you mean, Big Al? Should not matter if it's anywhere on this line. It should be the same angle. Oh, really? Not true. If you get nice and close to the ball, it becomes a much different angle. If you get even closer, now it's a really hard angle. You actually have to shoot out like this, okay? Or like that in order to get the contact point. And if you get even closer, you can't even see the contact point now. Now you have to make that with some spin, and you're shooting way over here on this line now. Okay, so the further back you are, the straighter you can actually access that contact point. Okay, so you can see here I'm straight. My contact point, I just have to veer out about that much. You see that? Not very much. The closer I am, I actually have to aim out more and more and more. So it's actually easier. I think the perfect balance is actually center table, because you still only have to deviate just a tiny bit to hit the contact point, but you're close enough to aim it, see it properly, okay? Obviously, back here, that's a hard shot. You're shooting on a rail. You got some obstruction with the ball. You can only see it, the top part of the ball. Much harder bank, all right? So what are some other banks you can do in this situation? All right, so what if your opponent still has a couple balls on the table? Okay, kind of blocking these two corners, so you can't really do a bank. No, it's not really a great safety now. Unless you can pop this ball with the 8 ball and somehow leave the cue ball right here on this rail to leave your opponent in the bank. It's about the only safety. All right, so how do you make this? Well, this pocket becomes a very viable pocket. If you just overcut this shot a little bit, I like to add at least one tip of outside spin. This pocket here becomes a very viable option. Check it out. Oh, just missed it, but we gave ourselves a chance. All right, let's try it again. Bang. Third try, guys. Okay, and what about in that pocket right there? Bang. Second try, guys. Just for fun, guys, right here. Off the titty over here. Wrong direction. All right, let's try using that titty again. Okay, guys, in summary, figure out, practice some of these shots, okay? Practice those 4 safeties. Practice at least 1 or 2 of the banks, okay? Maybe the to here and the bank corners, okay? Practice those. And then come to terms which is your best odds, with which one is your best odds, which one you can do the most consistently, and do that one. Because when you're in a situation like this, where your opponent has a couple balls left and you're on the 8 ball, you pretty much have to go for this because there's no valid safety, all right? If you guys are both on the money ball, well, then there's some safeties that will work, and we covered them, right? Okay, guys, see you at the next lesson.